Okay, ignore the garbage truck in the background that you can probably hear. But yeah, after all these years playing Factorio, I've never bothered to beat the game because I usually get annoyed when I have to start dealing with yellow signs. Because that's just the most annoying out of these, obviously, since it's the last. But usually by then my factory's all broken down and not really working. Same's already happening, doesn't really have the throughput that it needs. Things that I thought would work aren't, so like I'm not getting enough advanced circuits. But here comes my final train. I'm finally gonna beat the game. My first time, like 7 years of playing. And since 1.0 is out, I can keep on playing this map, because it's very unlikely that they're gonna break my factory as a whole ever again. So here we are, the last components needed to launch my rocket. I'm so fucking happy. Right there. With this, I get my achievements, which means I can use my requester chests and all those other things to fix this factory. And I can use solar, and I can. Oh my god, I'm so ready. But what if I put on fish? No, not yet. Here we go. First ever victory. Cape Frontier. Oh. That's a lot of Arbicide. I'm also pretty annoyed that 30 of those hours were just me fucking around doing nothing. So yeah, there we are. My victory has been achieved. So now I have my achievements, which means I can use these to actually produce satellites. Should probably change that alarm though. Couldn't really tell that it was happening. That works best. And I mean, I suppose we need to whitelist white spots. So yeah, I'll do a quick tour of my factory, and then we'll call it the video. So just, oh, that's a stack filter. I don't get why it's only carrying 2 though. right. Through that limit. Yeah, so first ever factory. Biggest things that took me a long time with the reactor. Started having some struggles with it. I guess 2 isn't enough to make it run anymore, but I'm not sure why. So it takes 3 now to get it to run. I don't know. Because originally I didn't have that, but since I had to turn on this reactor to get just half of it to work, I figured may as well get the power I need from it too, since it has been slowly going up. But yeah, we had a power outage there, just because. But yeah, I could also learn more from formatting. Never had a factory this big, so that led to a lot of messiness in this area, which put a lot of limits on smelting. And then it's pretty much the same problem here of I built into a corner, so I figured that this would be enough, but clearly it's not. I had to introduce additional cracking. And don't go back up to Kid Frontier. Yeah, so because of that, I had to build a second refinery out here just to get me my materials. Because I could keep on going down, but then I'd hit my solid fuel, which I needed for rocket fuel, which I placed here because everything else was here. So in the future, if I had to do this again, factory same position, probably clean things up like this. Don't make a major hub dependent on, like, don't have factories going straight into a major hub, especially if they're very important, like this reactor. Because my entire factory right now relies on the fact that this hub keeps on moving. The second it doesn't, I lose water very fast. So it's very dependent on the timing that all 4 of these trains are constantly moving. So as you can see there, it is a very close call of it is just barely providing enough water. So it just sort of hovers. And this, because of that, in the future, I wouldn't build that there and then move things all the way out here. Instead, I'd take this stuff and just move it straight out there, which is why I planned on doing reactor fields here, and then building steam fields here as backup power. Because I swapped over to nuclear pretty much as soon as I could, which meant that the entire factory stopped, and I sat around messing with Covarex and messing with this, because I've done the uranium mining before. I've gotten there, but I've never, I think the last time I actually sat down and properly tried to beat Factorio was right around when the big science update happened, which obviously shows I don't play much. Um, so that science update broke my factory, going from like 4 tiers of science up to like 6 or 7. Or I don't think it was a science update. I think I played the science update, but one of the updates after that changed the sizings of a lot of things and how a lot of things worked, so they just sort of broke. Um, and I know that the recipes changed on science, which broke the factory. Um, so I think I've been using that as a sandbox world, just using that, messing around with nukes and unlocking everything. But so yeah, this is my little area where I produce stuff for um, my satellites. As oh, I got rid of that. But anyway, satellite resources and low density structure. This is my RCUs, rapid control units, um, processing units. Absolutely dependent on advanced circuits, which clearly I'm not making enough of. So that's something to pay attention to in the future. I must have gotten my math wrong somewhere, or maybe just the that might be it actually. These, since they're percentage based, the modules messed up how much is actually getting produced, because it makes it there every once in a while. It's not like enough, so maybe put that on a separate line in the future. Mm. You can try that. Um, yeah, some laziness here of me fixing what side it has to be on, despite the fact I could have just unloaded it onto belt, but for some reason I didn't think of that. Um, Probably not spend as much time on malls. I spent a good period of time just messing around with these, going through. Um, Another big part of the reason why my factory doesn't run so well is that it's uh, built into corners. Very dependent on the train network, which obviously makes sense. It's a railroad. But apart from the factory, there's not a lot that you put your resources into in a railroad. Um, so, like, I watched Bentham's playthrough as he invented the world type. Um, so I know that having, like, expansion, biter expansion, absolutely sucks on our world. Um, but also, it's like, what if there was a setting that just slowed it down? Maybe, maybe that's the thing, but I don't know. It's like you need some sort of expansion because right now there's no pressure because you clear out anything remotely around you, and then by the time it gets there, there's not even any pollution. Like, this is finally beginning to kick up enough to where it's getting here. And since it's not flickering, I don't think it's actually eating that much. But I've spent more time laying out rails in this world, just going around trying to figure out like how to fix past mistakes than I have actually making the factory. Um, Not actually, but it's probably pretty close. Um, so those are all problems that I can learn from. Should probably kick these up to level 3s. But yeah, that's this world done. So can finally say I've beaten the game. I'm not sure if I'm gonna start a new world. I really want to, but also I want to fix this world because I got the bots for it. I got a lot of bots just sitting, waiting for me to use them. So I could switch to a bot-based factory, but also I wanted the replay file for this so that I could just turn that into time lapse, toss it up on YouTube. But doesn't look like that's gonna happen because I think we hit 1.1. Because I think I started this way back at 1.0 launch, which is why I named it Project Frontier. I wanted to finally beat the game for 1.0. So I could have done this yesterday since it was my birthday. But I didn't. I just wanted to keep on reading, so excuse me. I had to wake up early. So yeah, I'll have to figure out a way to make my lines cleaner. Maybe allow diagonals. In this factory, this is my only diagonal rail, apart from I have no clue what I just heard. So like a bot around here? There shouldn't have been. I'm so confused. But I thought I heard the attack signal. Copper. We've got enough copper. Okay, so now these are running full tilt again. $86,000. Holy crap. circuits. I would have D4. Red. Add signs maybe. Is this the most? It must have been since the upgrade. After being upgraded to red, that's how much they've made. Maybe, probably, hopefully, who knows. If so, then freaking they're going ham. Hear my computer taking off. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I probably also want to do the icons. I'd done that because I intended for the replay, as I said. But, yeah. 1.1. 1.1, we got our update, so we no longer had that, which means all of this is useless. I haven't actually gotten replay before, so obviously, since I haven't beaten the game, but it should fix some of the saturation problem. Then, yeah. A little bit better. Probably should have just done the same thing I did with iron, turn the whole thing. Admittedly, when I plugged it in, it was only half scale, so one belt worked fine. Now it probably needs one per, but I don't have the surplus for that. I was gonna say I'm curious why that belt's getting extra loaded onto it, but it's just because that is just 2.